Hi, it's Orit Krug, and today we are talking about why dance therapy for relationship issues works faster, deeper, and better and clearer than any other traditional therapy, and even most alternative therapies. So, even if you've never heard dance therapy before, it is a legitimate psychotherapy that gets straight to the root of your relationship issues by accessing and releasing trauma stored from the body. Contrary to some people's belief, aka random men that I meet out at out in New York City, dance therapy is not a form of therapy where I'm dancing for you to help you feel better. Just a little humor slash like hidden resentment over people being like, is that really a legit thing? Anyway, I digress. So in dance therapy, you don't actually need to know how to dance. There's no requirement for you to move your body in any certain way. Working with a skilled and experienced dance therapist will allow you to safely and gently connect to your body in a way where your body, along with your dance therapist, really guide you on how to access and release trauma from your body. Now, another thing is when you're in traditional therapy, you will spend years and years and years talking about how you want to behave differently or feel more safe to love. And it brings you more insight, but it never brings you change, like real change, if your relationship issues are stemming from unresolved trauma. But in dance therapy, whatever behavior you want to create in your life, in your relationships, whatever you want this best version of yourself to be, you become that through your body and movements on the spot in session. Because movement, well, let me back up. Behavior is action, and every action we take is movement through the body. So we can spend as many hours and as many thousands of dollars talking about what we want to do differently. But until your body is on board and really feels safe to follow through on that behavior that you want to do, it's never going to happen. So let's talk a little bit more about how your relationship issues stem from trauma and why dance therapy is necessary to be able to truly release that trauma. So, right, I said this a little bit before. Most relationship issues stem from unresolved past trauma. So you have to heal the underlying pain or the underlying heartbreak or, neglect or fear of abandonment or whatever it is that's making you sabotage your relationship or push away your partner. We can name, there's so many labels and new age terms that it's like, I know that a lot of it is trying to help people understand and, organize what their issues are meaning or indicating. But honestly, it just puts more and more fog around what the real issue is that you have unresolved trauma. If you have an anxious attachment, you have an unresolved trauma of being emotionally unmet at, probably from a young age. If you have relationship anxiety, which is a newer age term for all the things that happen when you have unresolved trauma and you're in a healthy relationship, and even maybe in like not the healthiest relationship. If you have relationship anxiety, let's just call it what it is. You have unresolved trauma where you fear that your partner is going to leave any moment, or you fear that you're not good enough for your partner, or you nitpick all the things that you aren't perfect. So it makes you create a wall and leave because that helps you enable your fear of intimacy, which stems from trauma, right? So get the point, if you really can see that everything boils down to trauma. So the next time you're going down a rabbit hole of research or you're writing down a new term that you learned, try to just pause, come back to your body, and connect back with yourself, because all of that stuff just makes you more disconnected from your body, which is the opposite thing that you need to do in order to really heal. So one of the things that dance therapy does that that traditional therapies for trauma do not do is it heals your nervous system. So once you begin to safely move your body with a dance therapist, you will be able to have the opportunity to rewire your nervous system, because you will be guided to move in ways that will stir up your old trauma that's stored in your body, because old trauma is stored in the body as fragments of sensations that were there during the event, a certain smell, a certain sound. During the events of your abuse, you smelled that smell, you heard that loud sound, and whenever there's a faint reminder of one or more any of those senses, it triggers trauma. This is why trauma triggers can seem like they're coming out of nowhere, even if you're having a really good day. So when you move the dance therapist, because you're starting to move your body in different ways, even if you've done yoga, even if you've done ecstatic dance, even if you've done all the things, this is different. And those sensations will be triggered. Except in dance therapy, what happens is you don't go to a place of getting triggered and reacting, but we can see your micro body movement and your micro body signals that are telling us you are going into a fear response, which happens really, really quickly. And instead of you going there, instead of you disconnecting or numbing or escaping your body like you usually do, we help you stay regulated. We help you stay present in your body and in the therapeutic relationship, so that when you get triggered in your real life relationship, your nervous system understands how to self-regulate, and you can stay in the relationship with your partner and be in command of how you want to respond, instead of being hijacked into a reaction that you'll later regret. Now, why I'm saying that dance therapy is even quicker, faster, and deeper and more effective than even a lot of alternative therapies, a lot of newer age therapies, and even like newer neuroscientific based / neuroscientific backed therapies, is because even things like EMDR, somatic experiencing, brain mapping, none of those have you connecting to your body through movements. And that's a huge problem, because if your trauma healing process does not include physical movement through your body to release trauma, then you have all this physical trauma still stored in your body, even if you've rewired your nervous system. So you could go as far in your healing to react less impulsively in your relationship, but the behavior of staying quiet, or the behavior of being too aggressively angry, doesn't change, because your physical body, all your physical body knows is to fight if you've always fought. All your physical body knows is to tense up and freeze if all you've ever done was freeze. So trauma is not just stored in your nervous system, it's stored in your physical body as well. And if you go, if you're planning on doing therapy that helps to rewire your nervous system, your body is just still like this through the whole thing, right? Or whatever, could change a little position, but it's not like your body has to learn how to speak up and be assertive and be direct and behave in these new ways and feel safe to behave in these new ways if you ever want to follow through on that behavior. So if you're afraid of being seen, if you're afraid of getting your needs heard or seen, in dance therapy, for example, you can practice what it's like to open up, to take up space, doing that in relationship with a qualified therapist, in relationship with someone who can help you regulate through that and make sure your body feels safe through learning this new behavior. It changes your behavior like that, so that you're not saying, I want to be more open, I want to open up. And then it's like, when the real life opportunity happens, your body's just like, well, I don't know what to do. How do we do this? It's not enough to talk about it in your mind or, explore the idea. Your body has to know how. Now, this is more than power poses. Okay. This is more than any other kind of dance-based hobby that you've done, if you have done any of those, this is therapy. This is legit therapy in a safe container of a therapeutic session where this needs to happen through a specific process. It's going to take way more than a power pose or a yoga class to really achieve this level of change. So at this point, you may be thinking, all right, cool. What do I do? Is it right for me? Should I try to look into dance therapy? So let's talk about how you'll know if dance therapy is right for you in healing your trauma and relationship issues. So there are 3 questions that I'd like for you to ask yourself. Number 1 is, let's say you've gone as far as consulting, potentially working with a dance therapist. Ask yourself, even ask them, is this dance therapist highly experienced in rewiring the nervous system and releasing trauma from the body? So you probably want to ask them and see what they say, because not all dance therapists are trained equally, especially in different parts of the States and in different parts of the world. There are very different trainings. Some are a little more woo-woo, some are a little more science-backed, and trauma is science, and trauma is science. I'll leave it at that. So my client, Julia, came to me last year because she was really struggling with a lot of heaviness and pain from her childhood abuse. And it affected every aspect of her life, especially her marriage, especially her relationships with her kids. And she had actually been working with a local dance therapist. And she didn't live very far from me, which is interesting because I work with people all around the world. So she was working with her local dance therapist for several years, and it actually made her trauma feel worse. It made her reactions worse. And it exacerbated her freeze response, because she would literally freeze through the movement with her dance therapist. Now, it was clear to me that her dance therapist really tried to help Julia heal her trauma, but that she wasn't providing the safety and the necessary foundation that Julia needed to build in her body through this work in order to feel safe enough to heal. So even though her local dance therapist, in her words, her local cheap dance therapist, Julia spent more money working with her than in my online Let Love In program for 3 months, where her life and her marriage completely transformed. So please don't just find the cheapest therapist for your trauma. That is like finding the cheapest surgeon for your heart surgery. It's very risky, and I don't recommend it. The second question that I'd like for you to ask is, how much do you already understand about your patterns and your past trauma? So one of the reasons my Let Love In program works so well for clients and so quickly is because they already have a very deep intellectual understanding of their past trauma and how it impacts their current relationship issues. Now, I know I mentioned earlier in this video that it's, you can talk about your issues for as long as you want, but it's not going to help actually change them. That is still true, but it's not like any of that really, it's not like that intellectual understanding went to waste. It's actually necessary for you to be able to really have the self-awareness so that you can integrate that with the incredible shifts that you'll feel in your body through dance therapy. Now, this is such an important prerequisite for my Let Love In program that I don't even accept any applications or calls with potential clients who have indicated that they've never done any kind of therapy. You need some kind of foundation of understanding of yourself and your trauma for dance therapy to help you on this amazing, deep, quick, and what many clients say, magical level. The third and last question is, do you believe in yourself and your ability to heal, no matter how long you've been trying to? So you can work with the best dance therapist in the world. You can have all the cognitive understanding about your relationship issues. But if you don't believe in yourself, none of it works. If you're constantly doubting yourself, second guessing the process, trying to figure out everything through revolving thoughts in your head, it defeats the purpose because it just makes you up here instead of getting into your body where you need to heal. It's okay and it's normal if you have some self-doubt, if you feel a little skeptical about if you can heal. That's totally common. But you've got to have a much stronger voice that's saying that it is possible for you. So if you can answer those 3 questions and you feel like, all right, amazing, I really want to move forward, I really need this, then you can actually book a free and obligation-free relationship review with me at oritkrug.com/apply. That link will be somewhere around here, depending on where you're watching. And we can determine if this is a good fit for you. If you are just wanting to learn more about the process at the moment, you're more in like receiving information versus springing up and taking action, then I'm going to invite you to sign up for my free Rewired for Love training, where you will learn much more about the neurophysiology of how trauma is stored in your body, in your nervous system, and how dance therapy can finally help you heal no matter how long you've been trying to. This free training will give you more clarity, more understanding, more hope than years and years of traditional therapy ever could. I'm not making that up. That is a common piece of feedback that I get from people who do my training. So depending on where you're watching, the link is above, below, to the side, and sign up for my free training. And I can't wait to help you understand how to let love in. Bye.